Hi, welcome to Atrocious Gameplay. Now, this is week number 3 that we are finishing up of the Players Cup 2 series that's going on right now in the Pokemon trading card game. And before we get into how I've been doing in all the games, just want to remind you all that this is an exclusive series on YouTube. I've not been playing the Pokemon trading card game on Twitch as of late. We've been doing other things, other goals that we've had, and things that we've wanted to do. It's been really cool to see all of your support on YouTube, especially for the Pokemon trading card game. So I first want to thank you. Second, just as I've been talking about for the last couple of videos, we are doing a Champions Path code giveaway. Now, 2 people are going to win 30 Champions Path codes that were so graciously given to me by Leggy, one of our wonderful community members on Twitch and in Discord. And I'll leave the link in the description below. You can go follow me. Don't worry about these red exclamation points. This was me trying to get into the own giveaway just to make sure that it was actually me, Atrocious Gameplay, that I linked it to. But yeah, there's different tasks that you could do right here. All you have to do is just go ahead, do these tasks, visit this link. You know, go follow me on Instagram, you know, go follow me on Twitter, all of those types of things. And then the more things that you do here, the more times that you can have a chance to win, because the more entries you'll get. There is a daily one, so make sure to come back to this link every single day. Make sure to save it up there. This giveaway is going to be ending on October 24th at a little after 1 a.m. Eastern time, which is a Saturday, which is going to be the time that the next Players Cup update video comes. So again, make sure you check out the link in the description below to see that. And by all means, let me do one more thing before I give you the cringy like, comment, subscribe, and all that stuff. Go ahead and take this code. We had a nice person in the comments say thank you so much for the code. I want to start giving out more codes in the YouTube videos and stuff like that, because I have a whole stack of them. So there's one right there for you to take. But now, let's go into how I'm doing in the Players Cup. So since we last left off, we were at 15 tournaments done in the Players Cup. We are currently sitting at 30 Players Cup tournaments finished. Maybe not as much as I wanted, but you know, with only 20 left, that's pretty manageable. I'm not super worried about not completing and things like that. I was able to grind out several just last night before this video releases. So very, very nice. Now, what's not so nice is how I kind of have done in the last like 10 tournaments, I feel like. So it ended off going super well kind of towards the beginning, from here to here in the first 5. I was playing Scorch, I was playing PikaRom. I was able to get through a lot, but the second round has been incredibly tough for me. And then getting to the finals has been almost non-existent in these 30. From 30 has been about right here. I've made it to 5 different finals appearances, and I've only been able to win 1. As in comparison, in the first 15, I was able to win 3 times. So definitely things are going a little bit shaky for me, but we are being a little bit consistent in terms of getting out of the first round, especially with a deck like PikaRom. You may have heard me say this on the Metapod podcast, but I really liked how PikaRom is doing, and PikaRom is once again somewhat well poised in the meta currently. It's very, very interesting to see how it's doing. I thought it was very nice, especially with the ability to use Boltund. You know, you're not necessarily always going for that turn 1 full blitz. Why? Because it's just you disregard too many resources. It's a little too risky to hit. And if you don't hit it, it seems like the game's over because of everything that you tossed away. So being able to Boltund almost every single game is very, very nice in my personal opinion. Very consistent. It's easy to get off, and it puts you in a good spot, especially against other decks like ADP or things like that. So I think PikaRom is pretty good in my opinion. I would consider playing more tournaments with it. I technically do have to play more tournaments with it because I've only done 3. I'm trying to play around 5 or so of every single meta deck, or at least 5. But the theme of this past week was threes because I then played 3 more games of Luke Metal, which, by the way, was agony in my personal opinion. You know, getting this L here to this Mew 3 and then getting another L to Luke Metal, it was not super fun. And there's a lot of Luke Metal going around right now. At least when I was queuing up at this certain point, which was last night. So Luke Metal faced it a couple times. Luke Metal is one of the more popular decks right now. In this one though, in the 23rd tournament, I did end up beating another Luke Metal, but losing to Slapras in the finals. And if you don't know what I mean by Slapras, I'm talking about Lapras Frostmoth. This was the weirdest series of games where you just sometimes just have to chalk it up to PTCGO. My opponent played really well with the Lapras deck. They did super awesome. Hopefully they do well in the Players Cup, but man, they just hit everything that they needed in this game. And especially with cards like Zamazenta, you know, I thought I was in a pretty decent position, but you know what? When your opponent's hot, your opponent is just hot. Also, something that I saw a lot of through especially these last several games right here is Mew 3 is gaining a good chunk of popularity, whether that is through the psychic version, which I faced a couple times in the last couple tournaments, which, by the way, Night Watch sucks. I'm not a fan of Night Watch. Very good attack, but wow, that was terrible to go through. You know, you also have Welder Mew 3s like I was playing Welder Mew 3, made it pretty decently, 2 out of the 3 rounds out of the first, but no finals appearances for it. Didn't do well against Eternatus. In fact, all 3 of my losses were against Eternatus, and who knows, maybe that was because I played poorly. Maybe that was it's just a bad matchup. I just don't think, especially because Mewtwo has kind of 270, it's not a VMAX. It's a little bit easier for the Eternatus to power it up, and then also, Eternatus is playing Power Plant, so if there is a turn, even though you're playing 4 Giant Hearts and 1 Marshadow, if you're playing Isaiah Bradner's list that he's been doing really well with, even if you're playing 4 Giant Hearts and that 1 Marshadow, it still can be crushing when you actually whiff a Giant Hearth or that Quick Ball to get the Marshadow, to get that Power Plant away, because then you're just sitting there and you can't attack, and whether you have to throw something up into the active to be able to do some damage or maybe to stall out time, Boss is still a prevalent card. So the Mew 3 games, it was really tough, and especially because Eternatus is still roaming in that popularity of like the medium range. I'm sure there are ways to spin the matchup to be able to make it really effective, but I feel like, especially in, you know, from Luke Metal all the way to Decidueye, I feel like, wow, these were some of the worst hands that I've gotten. These were some of the most comebacks that I've gotten. Especially this Luke Metal game right here. I was down so far in the water hole, and then I ended up, because of crushing Hammerheads, I didn't win because I took all the prizes. I actually won because I decked my opponent out, which was wild to me. Makes sense though when you're constantly not one-shotting your opponent, because you're playing the goggles, they're playing goggles, the Full Metal Wall. So it ended up making sense. The math had to go a little bit tricky in trying to calculate, which was really cool, but I don't know if Luke Metal is a deck that I personally want to continue playing. I know some people like Tristan Lackey have done really well with Luke Metal in the Players Cup as of right now, but just for me, I don't know, I think I'm gonna stay away from it. It's just it's man, I don't know. But Decidueye also, I want to talk about Decidueye real quick. Decidueye was very interesting because I played a lot of draw pass, and that was mostly because of the Mew 3s. So these 2 Mew 3s, I continuously got Night Watched, and thankfully I hadn't played enough cards and I had gotten a Decidueye out to where in this match specifically, that I was able to draw past the rest of the game because I had able to get 2 Decidueyes up, because especially in the Psychic Mew 3 matchup with Decidueye, you have to be able to get through a Pale Moon. So when I talk about Pale Moon, if you have a Decidueye in the active, they're going to use Pale Moon GX, and then especially if you can't switch because you've been, I don't know, night watched before that a couple times to make your hand absolutely zilch, they're going to knock out one Decidueye, so you have to be able to have another one ready, so then you can either start producing damage or you could just draw a pass. The reason that I did draw pass in this matchup specifically, you can constantly use that 90 and 20 spread damage, but the reason that I had used draw pass as my strategy for the entire game is because they were playing the Detective Pikachu Mewtwo GX, and I believe it was its second attack. It does like 120 damage and confuses your opponent, which I thought was an interesting take on the deck. I thought it was an interesting strategy. Definitely didn't make me want to attack. I would rather just sit there, pass, than possibly damage myself if I knew that I had a deck out option and strategy and that I had plenty of more time than my opponent. So very, very wild set of games here. I still think Decidueye is very good, even though Decidueye may have not taken me as far in these 4 games right here as I would have wanted it to. It did give me a win. Again, Decidueye getting me another win here, but it's been pretty fun, I would say. It's been pretty interesting. I will say, though, the format has not been super fun. I don't know how many games I have played where it just chalks up to, man, I just had a terrible start and my turn 1 was awful. And now I've either been donked or my opponent is just so outrageously far ahead that in a best of 3 format, I would have scooped that game so much earlier. And then you've been wasting time, you feel like, because you've been so far behind in the game, but you don't want to give up until you lose, right? Because you never know what's going to happen. This is why we've been playing a lot of Pokemon video game on the Nintendo Switch on Twitch, is because it is not very... I don't know if the Pokemon game is super enjoyable right now in terms of a competitive scene. I don't know. Maybe it's just because of the pandemic. Maybe it's just because I'm a little bit burned out of it. But it's been super weird to watch. I will continue to produce Pokemon TCG content, and my goal for this next week is going to try to, along with the Players Cup update, is going to be to try to bring out some fun decks. There may not be the best competitive decks, but like the Guardian deck last week that I did, which was super well perceived. Thank you so much for loving that Guardian deck. I just want to find fun decks to play. Even if that's Charizard Breaksing, because I have played a couple Charizard Breaksing games off stream on ladder, because I want to practice that deck before I bring it to the Players Cup, because that's not a deck that I have any experience playing at all. I want to have that option to bring the fun decks for you all, because as I have mentioned since the beginning of the pandemic, whether that was on the Metapod or whatever, you know, if you're not playing right now, you're going to come back and you're going to be really, really rusty. So it's good to just continue to stay in tone, continue to play games, continue to practice. It may not be the super most enjoyable thing, especially in a format to where it's so fast and it's so hit heads, forehead on hammers and all that stuff, but we can still have a very, very fun time. And thank you so much for watching. This is going to be the end of the video of this Players Cup update. Reminder that the Champions Path giveaway is currently going on right now well, it's not on Twitch. The Player GG giveaway is going on right now of 30 Champions Path codes. Again, 2 people will win those, and I hope to see you in there. And you know what? Make sure to follow us for more updates. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. check me out on Twitch, where the DLC is coming out. For those of you interested in the Sword and Shield DLC, I will be playing that on stream on Friday. It won't have anything to do with YouTube. It won't go up on YouTube or anything like that, but just want to let you all know in case some of you are interested, because some people have gotten into the video game since the pandemic came up, and you know, we can't have actual TCG IRL events. So hope to see you there, and have a wonderful rest of the day. Stay safe, wash your hands, wear a mask.